Now let us understand various data analysis techniques that are univariate, multivariate and bivariate analysis. Let us start with a univariate analysis. The simplest form of the data analysis where only one variable is analyzed. Now, when taking a particular data set, when analyzing a particular data set, when you want to analyze only one particular data point, that is only one variable, you will take univariate analysis. What is this univariate analysis? Univariate analysis will describe the variable and summarize its characteristic. It will take only one single variable and it summarizes its characteristic. And what we use? Techniques for this analysis, we are going to take central tendencies such as mean, median and a mode. For that variable, we are going to calculate, and the focuses, the techniques to analyze that we are going to consider is the central tendency, that is the mean, median and a mode. Dispersion. What is dispersion? Dispersion will have a lot of things to calculate, in which there is something called a variance, there is something called a standard deviation, there is something called a range. But these are all will be analyzed with respect to only one single variable, that is called univariate analysis. We also will talk about distribution. In distribution, we use this histograms and box plots to visualize the variables analysis. Okay, for an example, we want to analyze the height of the individual in a class. We just want to examine. I just want to analyze the height of a single person of the class. Whenever it is analyzed as an independent variable, not comparing with the others, will be coming under the univariate analysis. Similarly, finding the average age of a group of people. Here, the average, the age of the group of people, in that there is a specific column average. In a data set, there is a specific variable average. This variable average, whenever it is considered to be the independent of the others and analyzed, it is considered, the analysis is considered to be the univariate analysis. So for the visualization, we use histograms, box plots, pie charts and bar charts. Okay, there are several visualization techniques we will use, such as Seaborn or Matplotlib also. Now, univariate analysis does not involve the relationship or dependencies between the variables. It just is going to analyze one and only one variable here. And the next thing is the bivariate analysis. What is the bivariate analysis? The analysis of two variables to determine the relationship between them is called a bivariate analysis. In the bivariate, in addition to the single variable, we will identify the other affecting variable or being affected variable with respect to the current variable. Now, in the univariate analysis, we will take only x. We will discuss only about the x, maybe the age, maybe the height, or maybe any other thing with respect to a single variable. But here, I will take one variable x, and I'm going to identify the relationship of this x with respect to some other variable such as y. X may affect y or the other way around. But here, I'm going to analyze the relationship in between two variables. Okay. Now, for an example, age and strength. Age and the activeness. Activeness is measured in terms of your wake up time, for an instance. Now, how much how long you can be active may also be based on your age. Age may also be the factor that directly is proportional to your activeness. So, similarly, when it comes to the x, what is the other variable that is impacting x? Similarly, what is the, how x is contributing towards the y? This is called bivariate. Now, goal is to find patterns, correlations and the causations between two variables. We just are going to analyze. This is all about analyze. We just find out the patterns or the correlations. Now, what are the numerical values here? Techniques. In order to identify the relationship between two variables, we will use some techniques Some techniques are numerical, some techniques are categorical, some techniques are mixed, which combines both numerical and categorical. What is numerical? Correlation. We just are going to, understand, you do understand about the Pearson rank. Already we discussed in the previous session. In the second unit, we discussed about the Pearson correlation rank, and Spearman correlation also we understood, right? So these Spearman are going to provide you some tools of identifying the correlation in between two variables in a numerical form. There is also something called regression analysis, by using which you will be able to understand and identify the relationship in between two variables. Okay, one example is simple linear regression. And the categorical variables. For the categorical variables, we will take cross-tabulation and chi-square test. We are going to discuss about the cross-tabulation and chi-square test in the hypothesis testing. But whenever two variables are just categorical or non-numeric, for an example, age. Age is male or female. It could either be 0 or 1. Right? So these are just a categorical variable. These categorical variables, whenever these are non-numeric, and in order to identify the relationship in between two categorical variables, we will take cross-tabulation and chi-square test. Whenever there are some mixed variable which includes both categorical and numerical, we will use box plots for the numerical data across the categories. Now, the example such as analyzing the relationship between study hours and the exam scores. More the study hours, more the exam scores. Less the study hours, less the exam scores. In order to understand the difference or the relationship in between X and Y, where X is the study hours, Y is the exam scores, we will use this bivariate analysis, checking how income varies by the education level. More the income meaning more the education level you might already have attained, right? So this is how two variables impact each other mutually. This is how we are going to analyze. For visualization, again, we will use scatter plots, line charts, box plots, and heat maps. Multivariate analysis. What is the multivariate analysis? As the name suggests, multivariate analysis is going to identify the relationship in between more than two variables. It's just not two variables. In univariate, we will take a single variable. In bivariate, we are going to two variables. In the multivariate, we are going to take many variables, and we are going to identify the relationship among those variables. Definition is the analysis of more than two variables simultaneously. We are going to analyze the relationship in between more than two variables simultaneously. And the goal, to understand the complex relationship in a data set. If you want to identify how this total data is contributing towards a model, this multivariate analysis is a key factor. We should be able to derive and define the relationship among several features together. For that, we will use multivariate analysis. We will be able to identify the patterns or interaction among multiple variables. This is what the goal is or objective is. Now, how to identify this multivariate analysis? How to identify this relationship? We will have some exploratory methods such as principal component analysis, what we have discussed in the second unit, and there is something called a factor analysis. Factor analysis is something which is going to analyze the key factor that is contributing towards the other variables. Every variable will have a factor which actually is contributing over the other variable, which is called factor analysis. Next thing is a predictive modeling. In the predictive modeling, we are going to use the regression techniques. What are the regression techniques? Regression techniques are clearly explained in the 5th unit, because in the 5th unit we are going to have all these machine learning topics such as regression and classification. There is something called a predictive modeling, in which we will talk about the multiple regression. There in the earlier bivariate, we use the linear regression, simple linear regression. But for multivariate analysis, we are going to use multiple regression, logistic regression, and a machine learning models such as decision trees, random forest, and the neural networks. In the 5th unit, we are going to cover all these machine learning topics. And the next thing is the cluster analysis. By also using the cluster analysis, we will be able to identify the relationship among several variables together. Grouping observation into clusters. We are going to take several variables grouped together. For instance, there is a data set from which I am going to identify those variables which are considered to be similar, which are considered to be related together, and clustered them. Right after clustering, I will be able to analyze, because when you group similar variables together, the identifying the relationship would be very, very easier, right? That is called a cluster analysis, grouping observations into clusters. Okay, right after cluster this, there will be observation. The observations will also be grouped together. Okay, predicting house prices based on location, size, age of the house. Now the thing is, of course, there is something called a price of a house. There are several factors affecting this price of a house. What exactly is the location? If it is a prime location, rate will be more, and if it is a outskirts, rate will be less. Similarly, the age. As the age grows, obviously price come down. But there also is contributing another factor. What exactly is the location? Now, for instance, if you want to buy a home at Abbots, rather in Jubilee Hills, obviously price is expected to come down over a period of 10 to 20 years. But at the same time, inflation rate also will be applicable, right? For instance, in 2000, in the beginning of 2000, I purchased a home at Jubilee Hills for 50 lakhs, which was pretty more at that point of period. Over a period of time, as the age grows, what you expect, obviously you expect the price to come down. But if you purchase the same house at Jubilee Hills right now, it will be in crores. Why? Because obviously the value of the house is coming down. But the thing is, as the location importance is growing up, obviously price also will be affected, right? So there are several factors will be contributing towards this price, such as location, size, age of the house. Now all these are clustered together, and all the observations will also be clustered together to have a better insight analysis. Analyzing, second example is how sales are influenced by advertising spend, product pricing, and the seasonality. There is a price. For an example, when it comes to this December, I mean, most of the online, online on Flipkart, or what do you call, the other thing is Amazon. The online sales companies such as Flipkart, e-commerce companies such as Flipkart or Amazon are going to offer something, offer the discounts. Obviously, sales will increase. But right after December, January, February will be considered to be the dry months where sales are expected to come down. Now the thing is, in order to improve the sales even in January and February, they will announce some more the advertisements. They will announce some more discounts, by using which they will be able to improve the sales. Now, how the sales are being influenced by advertising spend, product pricing, and seasonality. So these are all interrelated. For analyzing, we're going to use the techniques such as principal component analysis, factor analysis, or any regression techniques as suggested. Okay. Now, this is a table which differentiates in between, rather compares in between univariate, bivariate, and multivariate, which includes all the things that we discussed. Describe single variables, understand relationship between two variables, understanding the complex patterns. Examples are average age, height versus weight, predicting house prices in the multivariate, visualization technique, histograms, box plots, and scatter plot heat map in the bivariate, 3D plot and pair plot in the multivariate. Techniques we use is to understand the relationship analysis. For technique of analysis, we're going to use mean, median, and variance. For bivariate, correlation and regression. And for multivariate, we use PCA, logistic regression. Thank you.